How did I get into plumbing? Did you ask? Right, I'll tell you. So how I got into plumbing, and what you'll hear from a lot of other people, is generally it's from a family member. So I was no different. I have an uncle who is a second generation plumber from Jamaica, and I also have another uncle who is also a plumber. It makes so much sense for me to follow the route of getting into plumbing or having that as an option. So for me, it was an option when my uncle did say to me, are you interested in becoming a plumber? First, initially, my answer was, I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't even know what a plumber does, isn't it? I think I was about 17 at the time, and I didn't know what a plumber does. It's weird for me to say that now because I'm a plumber and a plumbing lecturer 20 years later, but let me land. When you look at plumbing or look at what a plumber does, most people don't have a Scooby what you guys do. So do you unblock toilets? Do you put taps in? That's what they generally think it is. Obviously it covers a lot more things than that. We all know that. But how I got into it was the opportunity to be able to work with my uncle and get that experience. That enabled me to say, do you know what? This is something that I could do, And having the guidance of my uncle at this particular time was definitely key to the plan of me becoming a plumber. And if you don't have that guidance, I think sometimes that we search nowadays for people online, people who we can relate to, but people who understand the journey, what you're going through. And the journey, what you're probably going through is thinking about wanting or maybe considering becoming a plumber, right? So that's why we're watching this video. So what I did was I believed in my uncle when he said, yeah, I think this is something you can do as well. So why not go ahead with it? So going ahead with it means actually getting a 9-to-5 job as a plumber, which at any point in life can be difficult for people that don't have qualifications and for people who are young, because this whole taking a chance on someone who's young, when we're young, sometimes we do young and dumb and silly things. Sometimes you don't want to turn up for work. You don't want to call someone. You want to just be in your bed or you're baking off, whatever you're doing, right? It's your business. But at this point, it's like take something seriously or possibly live the same type of lifestyle what you was living before. I'm not telling you that being a plumber is going to change your life totally, but it's going to give you some routine, and the routine is waking up and getting up for work to make money. That's it. It's quite simple. What I had to take on at the point was actually understanding that I need to go to college so I can learn the trade. And learning the trade is a big part of your time. It's a big part of commitment. I don't believe at the time I was so much like going out and stuff like that, but I think I was going out but still doing my work. I was still working. I enjoyed it because the thrill of learning something different, gave me a little like, I had enough of like standing and passing the bucket, because I did that a lot as an apprentice. And that's something which you got to understand. I feel that way of learning is kind of like really, really old school. I don't really think you're going to see that again. If someone asks you to carry the bucket while you're working with them, or carry his bag while you're working with them, or carry her bag while you're working with them, it's not a disrespectful thing. It's a thing of like, do you know what? You need to learn how heavy the tools are going to be for what you need for the job. And if you need a bigger bag, you're going to think about how heavy that is. Remember, you got to have all of this in mind when you go to every single job. Do you get it? You need your tools. Your tools are your vital parts of your equipment when it comes to being a plumber, right? So them giving you that type of training and that type of understanding to say like, listen, this is what you got to do. Grab that bag and then grab the drill bag and meet me upstairs. Oh, this is a lot. It might not be for you. You might decide at that point, you know what? It's not for me, because every job is not made for everybody. Do you understand? I had to go on enough plumbing jobs to understand if this is for me as a career path for like life. I'm not planning to get any other jobs. I've had this job for like 20 years. It keeps on evolving within a sense of the different ways you can go down on the different channels you could do. You could do maintenance, you could do installation, you could do new builds, you could do what you want. Do you get it? You could do your own projects if you really feel like it. It goes like that. And if anybody tells you it doesn't, they just don't know, because it does. But you only understand these things over a period of time. It takes a period of time for you to really grasp what you want to do and what lane you want to be in as a plumber, right? Because as I've said, there's many different ones. There's this self-employed, there's this terminology what's being thrown around now, which is called freelancing. It's the same thing as self-employed. It means he's not really working for, it's just like a little contracts and stuff like that. You could have that as well, or you could have employed. There's many employers looking for people, you know, looking to employ plumbers and people of trades just because they need it. You know, think about a stadium or something. They need maintenance people to maintain a stadium, just like a hospital, just like any other big establishment. It's the same. Back to the story, what I was telling you about this plumbing journey, which is going to college, making sure that I commit to staying, to finishing my apprenticeship so I can get my qualifications. That's something you have to decide. It's something you have to decide on how long it is, what you're going to get at the end of it, and what's going to be the end goal, innit? Nobody can predict the future to where things are going, like, oh, we're going to need more of this or less of that. But you see how life is going at the moment, innit? You need tradespeople to do tradey things with their hands, to fix things. Yeah, if people are getting a lot more smarter, things are getting a lot more interesting, but the physical side of jobs, we can't really run away from that. If somebody's having a house or has got a house or something like that, they need a toilet, they need a bathroom, they need a sink. Do you get it? Need a radiator, need a boiler. All these things are a need, a must. Washing machine. The list goes on. Outside hose to wash your dog off with. List goes on. Do you get it? People want to wash their car at the front of their house. Cool, we need to get a plumber in. See if we can run the pipe work around the front so you can have a hose at the front. Don't have to do all that stuff. Do you get it? These are the things which people don't talk about, but I know what happens in our industry because I've been in it for long enough. But if you're thinking about getting into it, one thing I would say, it's a long road. It's a road of improvement, improving yourself, because the first version of you saying I'm a plumber now isn't and might not always be the best version, because you might get better within time with learning stuff, picking up on traits, making mistakes, and understanding that every day could be something bloody different. And you might understand to yourself how to get better at it by sharing your knowledge, sharing your experiences and stuff like that, because there's a big community online, you know, of a lot of different plumbers speaking about plumbing from their perspective and how they got into it. But how I got into it was through my uncles, which was a family connection. And then I also went to college. And then I left the company who I was working for and said, I need to go out there in the big wide world and learn and make mistakes. And at some point, I wanted to grow a business, grew a business, became an influencer as well, collabed with some amazing big companies. And now I'm on here telling people my experiences. If you like this type of content, and hopefully it helps you, but doesn't deter you from getting into plumbing, because it's not meant to. Just because I told you I have a family connection that got me in, it doesn't mean you can't get in. You can get in on off your own merit at the end of the day. Go to a college, go to companies, approach them. People are looking for people, innit? If you're trying to be one of those people who they're looking for, again, get some experience, get your feet wet, find out how it really is. A day in the life is not enough. You need a couple of months to understand if it's for you for long term, because things change, they get easier. It becomes easier to become a plumber as the years go on, because your skills are sharpened and you know a lot more. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the other side.